How was your experience abroad different than your experience growing up in terms of your disability?
Right, so I was just talking about how my mental health was impacted, and I was talking about high school, and this time around was different because one, I had the skills that back then I didn't really have too much of. Was advocating for myself, and also just the people in my program were in general more understanding than my peers were back in high school. Like my peers in my study abroad group actually made an effort to reach out and talk to me and work with me, as opposed to growing up in my hometown in my school where a lot of people were actually pretty intimidated by my disability and by like other things, because I was very much a nerd, so people were kind of like not too eager to try and reach out for the most part. So it was a little bit different. So there's some similarities, but people now were much more open-minded.
Did you ever have any moments where you weren't getting the accommodations you needed?
So any experiences where I didn't get accommodation. So for the most part, I got accommodations. Like I was able to request one of my favorite interpreters that I already had experience with, because she had interpreted women and gender studies classes that I had already taken in the past, so she knew the subject matter. And another interpreter came along, and both of them were great. And they were very, very willing to go out and interpret for, dinners or extracurricular things, and even for weekend trips to other countries. Like I went to Austria, they went with me and interpreted for that. So I got access for the most part, but at the same time, I also have to balance that, like, access for me, but also respecting their time, because they work, but they can't be expected to work 24/7. So I wanted to respect their time, because it's also their time to enjoy themselves and stuff like that. So I kind of had to make sure that I, wasn't requesting them to come with me, go out every single night or whatever. So for the most part, if it was like a big group dinner, I would request my interpreters to come. But if it was a smaller group gathering, I would be okay with just by myself, because we could like make it work. Other things, if my interpreters would also request time off in advance, because they said, oh, we want to go to another country for like a day trip, or this weekend I'm not going to be available. But they let me know way ahead in advance. So we worked out things like that. So other than that, I have really good access. It's just a matter of kind of like balancing their work life habits over there. So
did you learn anything about your disability while abroad?
So while abroad, it wasn't, well, I went to the Netherlands, which is Western Europe, which is not super different from the US. I mean, it's still quite different in some ways, but others is similar. But for me, I thought my disability was going to be more of a barrier than it actually was. Like, for example, I traveled by myself to Italy afterwards, after my program, and I thought my disability was going to be more of a barrier, but it was actually more of the language barrier. Like, people tend not to focus on your disability because of the language barrier. Like, for example, I couldn't speak Italian, so people would focus on that fact and be like, oh, you can't speak Italian, that's okay, we'll use Google Translate or something, instead of using, focusing on my disability,